So that's when people say, "Oh, all men do is protect and provide." No, that's all your man does. Because I see protecting and providing as more than just a physical and a financial thing. I have to provide you with a safe space. I have to provide my daughter with a safe space, right? I have to protect your emotional well-being, your mental. I have to protect her mental well-being. It's not just me going to work, covering the bills, and make sure you have food and putting things in place. That's just where it starts.
Mhm.
That's not where it ends. That's where it starts.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Life After I Do podcast. I'm your host, Nisha G, and I'm here with my husband.
Molito.
Hey, Booskies Ronies.
Hi, Bo.
That's what me and Phoenix say. We say, hey, Booski Ronies.
I feel like I'm glistening.
Are you sweating?
No, that's the Uncle Butter.
Oh, yes. Oh, who is it? I forgot the company we bought it from.
Uncle
But
Butter.
I
That's
know.
the name of the company.
Is that the name of the company too?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We went to Black on the Block, what was it, last year? And it's basically like a market.
It's all thing black excellence.
Yes, it's a market where it's all black owned companies, black food, like everything. And we got like some really cool stuff. And one of the things that we picked up was there's
I got-
Uncle Butter,
I
and
gotta
then they
get
also have Auntie Butter. But it's like a multi-purposeful like cream. So you can put it in your hair, you can put it in your beard, on your body, and it smells wonderful. Smells so good. And it's called Uncle Butter.
Uncle Butter for sure.
Yeah.
My titties
So
out.
that's probably why he's glistening. Do you really like it, huh? You're almost done with it.
Yeah, I gotta order another one.
Yeah, we gotta order. That'd be nice. Well, how was your week?
It was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I just lived. I dad and I husband.
How did you dad?
That little girl's just be stressing me out, but I love her.
You dad hard?
Dad.
Did you dad hard?
Yes, I listened to 1,278 stories about nothing.
All her stories are important, and they're all about
To her,
one
they
thing.
are. They are.
Okay.
They are.
I mean, I listened to "Show Yourself" from the Frozen 2 soundtrack.
But
All
you got
week.
show yourself, and I ain't got time. So it is what it is.
Which one?
Ain't got time for messing up. Almost there.
I was gonna say it ain't called. I ain't got time.
I don't know what it's called, but
Almost there
in
from
in
the
a nutshell,
Princess and the
I
Frog.
had a productive, efficient week.
Uh-huh.
My weekend was tiring.
I was gonna say, yeah, like
My weekend was tiring.
post Super Bowl weekend.
My weekend was tiring.
Yeah,
Post Super Bowl was before last pod.
I know, but I'm just saying it's still post Super Bowl weekend because we've been pretty much busy, like
Since
yeah.
the Friday before Super Bowl.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
We've been on a tear.
Yep.
As
Father daughter dance,
as
all that stuff.
As the young folks would say, we've been on a tear.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
How you doing, boo boo?
I'm okay. I'm surviving.
Booskies.
I'm surviving.
You also serving.
Your daughter. Oh, I'm trying a new foundation, so I'm really happy that you noticed.
I was talking about something else.
Okay, but I am trying a new foundation. Like, what do you think about it?
I think it's like the last one, but you look beautiful.
So
Man,
no,
I don't.
so no need to spend $70 on it, huh?
Is the other one cheaper? I can tell a difference.
The other one's $50.
Oh, ain't got time for messing around.
And it's not my style. No, I don't think it's 50. Actually, I think it's like 38.
It don't matter. You get what you get,
and you don't throw a fit.
That's it.
I'm gonna make a sweater that says "You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit."
That's fine. Buy it on a TikTok shop. I'm just playing.
Bye. It'll be up there soon. Yeah. So I mean, my week was good. Your
For
daughter,
sure.
your daughter is so funny. I had posted a video. So, we were making hot chocolate. She came in and she was like, "Mom," she was like, "Oh, are you drinking coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Can you make me hot chocolate?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Then we can drink it together." And I was like, "Okay." So she's like, "Can I help you make it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we're getting like all the stuff out to make hot chocolate. And so I get the little pot thing because I'm gonna heat up the milk. And so I'm putting the milk in there, and I was like, oh, let me put a little bit more in there. I said, because sometimes if you let it cook too long, it can like disappear or evaporate. I was like, some of it disappears a little bit. And she goes, yeah, like poop. And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "Yeah, sometimes my poop disappears." And I was like, "Oh, does it?" And she was like, "Yes." So I was like, "Okay, I'm so interested in hearing
Disappear where? It's my
I'm so interested in hearing this." So the first thing I did is I got my phone and I started recording and I was like, Phoenix, so tell me about this disappearing poop. And she was like, yeah. So sometimes, you go to the bathroom and your poop disappears. And so in my mind, I'm literally thinking to myself, but I know exactly what she's talking about.
what are you talking about?
Disappearing poop.
Okay, I don't.
You've never pooped before, and like after you've like cleaned yourself and everything, and you turn around and the poop is not there before you flush the toilet?
Nope.
Well, it happens. And there's people on TikTok who agree with me and know exactly, and most of them are moms too. But anyway, most of them agreed, and everybody knows about disappearing poop. But the fact that my child was just like, she was like, yeah, like the milk disappears just like poop. And so I was like, I said, so does this happen before or after you flush? And she was like, no, like it disappears like before. And so I said, what do you think happens? And she was like, I think it's like a witch or something in the toilet that goes abracadabra, poop disappear.
Abracadabra, poop disappear.
I was like, I think it's a witch or something in the toilet.
And it goes abracadabra.
It goes abracadabra, poop disappear.
Wow.
And I was like,
No words. I have no words.
I did. I was like, I absolutely love her. I absolutely like she was just dropping gems like all week. And then of course I was having another like semi-emotional week. I think as we get closer to her birthday, and she talks about her birthday every single day. Every day.
Every chance you get.
So today when she came home, she was like, first we had went to Sam's Club when I picked her up from school, and she was like, "Mom, I want to invite all my cousins to my birthday." And I was like, "All your cousins?" And she goes, "Okay, only 7 cuz it's my 7th birthday." And so I was like I was like
Logic. The
she
logic.
said, "I want to invite 7 cousins cuz it's my 7th birthday." And
The
I was like,
logic is
"Okay."
undeniable.
So she's naming the 7 cousins that she wants to invite to her birthday. So we get home after Sam's Club and she sits on the couch and she's got like this mopey look on her face. And I'm like, "What's going on? Like what's the deal?" And she goes, "Mom." And I'm like, "Yes." "Can you make sure I have a great birthday?" And I was
Wow.
like, it's a little offended. "So what makes you think you're not going to have a great birthday this year?" I was like, "You're going to have a great birthday, babe." And she was like, "Okay." And then she was like, "Did I have a 1th birthday?"
A once? Like a what? A 1 month old birthday?
She was trying to say her first birthday.
A once?
Because she's turning like a 7th birthday, a 6th birthday, a 5th birthday. So she was like, "Did I have a 1th birthday?"
Yes, baby. You had a
I
one.
said, "Phoenix." I said, she it was one of the things that Phoenix likes to do is go through all of our pictures, right?
All the
So
time.
like I've made her fold like actual physical photo albums, and then she also likes to go through all of the pictures like in my phone.
Yeah.
So she has seen her first birthday pictures like a million times. And so I was like, "Yes, you had a first birthday, Phoenix." And I was like, "You don't remember looking at the pictures from your first birthday?" And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I remember my cake was a unicorn." And I was like, "It was." And so then she cuddles up next to me and she goes, "Mom, can we look at those pictures together?"
Wow. She be doing too much.
Needless to say, we sat on the couch for a legit like 20 minutes and went through all of her pictures from her first birthday with her commentary. I even have the pictures of when she took a nap on her first birthday, and then she gave me the whole backstory. Like she speaks like she remembers. I mean, she swears to us that she remembers. I I don't know how much she really remember, but I can't say she can't or she can, whatever.
But she
But
got some details right.
because she's got some details right, and like we've looked at each other like, how the hell do you know that? Or how do you remember that? So, but she swears like she remembers. But you know what? That just brings me to something else because I'm like, I really feel like sometimes I underestimate her. And when she does something or say something, I'd be like, okay, that was my bad because I looked at you as if like you shouldn't have known or you didn't know, like, and she did.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, for instance, today when I was taking her to school. So last week, she has a spelling test like every week, right? And she, like, I didn't study with her as much as we normally study to prepare her for the spelling test, right? And so in my mind, I was like, okay, if she doesn't bring home a great spelling test, I'm not gonna like come down on her or anything because we didn't study as hard. Like we studied, but we didn't study as hard as we normally do for the spelling test. So before school, I was like, I just want to see what I could possibly be expecting when her spelling test comes back home. So I decided to give her a little like practice spelling test of my own. So I gave her the 10 words, I gave her the sentence, and she was like going through the words. Like I was saying them and she wrote them out and she was like, "Okay, next word, next word." And the only word that she kind of like got a little stumbled on was start. So before she gave me the paper, she was like, "Mom, I'm pretty sure they're right except for the word start. I don't really remember that one." And so I'm thinking, okay. So I pick up the spelling test and she got them all right with the exception of the word start. She got the whole sentence right. She used the capital letter in the beginning. Her handwriting looked good. She had a period
Don't
at
be
the
down. Don't
end.
be down, my baby. That's
She used the question mark, I mean, at the end.
mhm.
She got the words right with the exception of start.
Don't be doubting my baby. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And
Don't be
literally
doubting my
and
baby.
literally in my head I was like, why did I underestimate her so much? Like I be stepping back sometimes because I have to think that I think I be implementing like my own expectations
Mm.
or thinking about trying to think about myself too much in like her age that she is now and thinking to myself like, okay, like if she doesn't get it, it's fine because she's this, she's that. It's like even when she does something like at dance, when I saw her perfect a move that they've been working on at dance, when I was sending all the photos in the family group, I'm just like, she wasn't doing that like 4 weeks ago. She wasn't doing that 4 weeks ago, like those moves. And I'm like looking at her now and I'm like, well, dang, like baby girl is looking really good. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, but other than that, I've been having a little bit of an emotional week because, like I said, as we get closer to her 7th birthday, I feel like I'm starting to
You
see
said it like
less.
next month. You,
I know
you
it's in
got-
August. It's in August, but still, I'm very like. I mean, she's our only one, right? So a lot of all my emotions, not all my emotions, but my motherly emotions are really invested in her. And so the more I look at her, I feel like my baby is getting further and further and further
she's
and
definitely growing.
further
She's definitely
away.
growing.
So as we get closer to 7, like I had posted a video because she was playing dress up and she put her tutu on and she put like her princess gloves and stuff on and she was just like in her kid era and she was talking to her imaginary friends, twirling around the room and everything. And I was just looking at her and I was like, there's gonna be one day where I'm not gonna have Barbies all over the floor. Like she was playing with her toys and her
Okay.
Barbies and stuff were on the bed. And it's like in those moments, sometimes I can get super annoyed because it's like I'm trying to keep the house together. I'm trying to keep the house clean. I was doing laundry at the time, but I just took a moment and I was like looking at her just be in her zone and her element. And I was like, there's gonna come a day where there's not gonna be Barbies around my house, and she's not gonna be playing dress up just for fun. And I'm not gonna have to hear or know the lyrics to every new Disney movie soundtrack. Like those days are coming, and the closer that we get to 7, I feel like yes, she's still a kid, but she's not 2 anymore, and she's not 3 anymore, and you know what I'm saying? Because as she gets older, it's gonna be something else. Like when she turns 8, it's gonna be something when she turns 9. And she like for instance, she asked for a brand new bed. She was like, "Oh, can I get a really big bed for my birthday? I think I want a big girl bed." And I'm like, when we bought the
You got a
bed,
big girl,
right,
baby.
and that's what I was thinking. I was like, when we bought that bed, that was your big girl bed. It's her first bed since she's been out of the crib, but it's still a low profile safety bed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a little cute kid princess bed. But now she's like, no, like, can I get a bed like you and dad? Like, like can we step it up a little bit? And I'm just like, you're only 7, calm down. So I want to hop into what we were talking about last week. So we were talking about um I mean the title of episode from last week was why did I get married, but it was also centered around like what was it? women being able to tolerate more, and that's how longevity in marriage is like classified, with women being more tolerable. And there was a lot more that was stated like inside that, but I kind of just wanted us to uh elaborate a little bit more and talk about that more and see if you had any new ideas or anything else to add to last week's conversation.
I don't have
So,
anything necessarily to add. Sorry to catch you off guard.
you catch me off guard.
You know, I normally just respond to what you're saying and give my honest
Opinion.
opinion,
Well, let's go ahead and roll the
straight
clip.
straight from the mouth of a man.
Let's just go ahead and roll the clip.
Right now,
Yeah,
why are you being so
so we
demanding?
can so we
Oh,
can
here we
like
go.
refresh what the clip was.
When I hear long marriages, a lot of these women have put up with so much just to say that they stayed married. At the end, what what does anybody really gain outside of a title and for specifically for the woman, because it's the women who are having the complaints, and it is the women who need to be full and whole to be able to do what the nature of the feminine is to do, which is to nurture and sustain life. If you take the life away from a woman and you deplete her, there's only so much she can give after that. And typically, when a male has gotten everything that he wants out of her, he might not end the marriage. He might not end the marriage, which is mainly a lot of the times why the divorces are on women to actually initiate and go through. But he might not end the marriage. He may go get his needs met from other places, right? And sustain that marriage while she's in a relationship by herself. Now, the time might be ticking and ticking and ticking to say, oh, I've been married, this, that, and the other one. But it's just so many women who are disgruntled and unhappy with these setups because they all have the same complaints. And the divorce statistics actually reflect these complaints. So, how do we promote a marriage where the heavy coaching is basically on the woman and not enough coaching on what the male is to do? Because if a woman wants to be married, she can be married.
Okay, so remind me of what your thoughts were
I don't agree with you.
pertaining to the clip.
I don't agree. I think that goes both ways, and I think a lot of times, what I think statistics cannot show is that a lot of times people get married just to say they have a title. Sometimes people get married just for the title, and you're not pair bonding with the person that you need to be pair bonding with, or the person that you actually want to be pair bonding with. A lot of times, people, especially when they get older and up in age, they'll settle for, what's available, and not necessarily because it's not the one they want. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people don't take marriage seriously, and I think that's really the reason um, why the divorce rates are as high as they are. And then a lot of times women are initiating divorces more than men because as men, we're problem solvers. We're not a lot of times we're not just gonna give up. We're gonna see every avenue possible before we'll just give up. I think that's built in most. I'm not gonna say all men, but most good men. Most good men is okay. Yeah, I entered this into this union for a reason. I saw her as, my forever person. I'm going to do what I have to do or what I deem is necessary to make it work. And a lot of times that's why, it takes so long before a man to initiate divorce. Cause and I can say that from personal experience with people I know and other things I've seen. Like, yeah, and a lot of times, these women are I know cases where women are asking for a divorce or getting divorced because they got married under false pretenses anyway. They just wanted the title.
What do you mean
And
false pretenses?
like
Elaborate on that.
like they got married because they thought things would be different once they were married. And then when things are not different, you know what I'm saying? Or they got married because of the child, or they got married because of whatever the case may be. But the problem is that some people think that once you're married, the problems go away. It's not going to solve what's wrong. Just like having a kid is not, it's not going to repair. It's not going to bring you closer. It's just going to complicate the situation. And that's the same thing with marriage. A lot of people think that, oh, well, I love them. Oh, um, I have love for them. I may not be necessarily be in love with them, but so I'm gonna marry them anyway. I can grow to love them. This whole concept of grow to love. But the thing is that you already have you've already seen the red flags, or you've already seen things or characteristics that you don't like, that you don't necessarily can take, but you still go forward with them marriage anyway. And you're doing it for the title. You're doing it for what you can gain. And now there's 2-3 years down the road, now you're miserable because it's not something that you wanted to start with. Like, statistics don't take those kind of marriages into account.
Okay.
Marriage, the people who marry, the women who marry for money. Like, the stats don't show that. The stats just show that a woman initiated divorce. That's why you can't always look at numbers and take them completely at face value.
Okay, so would your perspective change a bit if I told you that 54% of women who divorce say that they would not remarry?
No, it wouldn't change.
Okay, so with this clip in particular, just a little bit of the backstory. The topic of discussion from that clip was how she was basically challenging the norms of the nuclear family, right? Having men and women live in the same household, raising children. The backstory to that is how men are basically so incompatible with women that we shouldn't cohabitate together under the same roof. Because of how women are inherently nurturers, men are inherently hierarchical. How do you say it? Hierarchical. But anyway, just like the tone and energy of men and the tone and energy of women, they clash. And so she's basically trying to challenge that norm that we could co-parent children.
No.
Hold on. That we could co-parent children, but it's not necessary for men and women to live in the same household. And also that marriage is more beneficial to men than it is to women.
Okay.
And I think the part that I really want to kind of dig deep in and talk about is the portion in which she talks about, there's a portion in there that in that episode that she talks about where women when she hears men talk about longevity in a marriage, and when she hears a man who says that he's been married for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, that doesn't make her ears perk up. She said it does nothing for her because she understands that what the woman had to go through
Mm.
to sustain the relationship is not the same that the man has to go
I
through.
disagree with that. It's the
Okay.
same thing, because we are not the same.
We know that, yes.
We are not the same.
Yes.
And she can't quantify the emotional and mental state that a man goes through being a husband and maintaining a marriage for 20 plus years. She can't quantify that because she's not a man. All she can speak of is this whatever statistical facts that she has, right? That we can't prove. We don't know if they have basis behind it. We don't know who they surveyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
How many?
Or how many? We don't know the sample pool. We don't know the sample size. We don't know the sample duration.
Okay.
There's too many factors to generalize the institution of marriage, because throughout time there's been successful marriages and there's been non-successful marriage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's been marriages that last generations on top of generations on top of generations, because those people who got together, they were really for each other. And that changes the whole dynamic of everything.
Right. So it's almost like I think what you're trying to say too, it's almost like when you ask someone, how do you know you're in love? Right? It's going to be different for everybody. Why would you say that?
You don't want to say me to TikTok.
Why would you say that? Because now it's going to seem super random if we don't give context about it.
You don't want to say me to TikTok. That's the
So,
first thing I thought about.
Okay, now we got to get off into a tangent, and then I'm going to lose my train of thought because this is what he does. But now I feel the need to explain why he just said that if you guys heard what he said.
They might not even heard.
So it doesn't matter. And if they did hear, then they're going to be like, what did he just say? So anyway, there was a TikTok that I had sent him. See, now we're getting to a tangent. There was a TikTok that I had sent him, and it was of a video of this girl taping her boyfriend, and she was asking her boyfriend. I feel like we said I've talked about it before.
Probably have.
But she was videotaping her boyfriend, and she was asking her boyfriend, "How did he know?"
Let me do it.
No, let me do.
Let me do it. Let me do it.
No, let me finish.
She was pretty much asking her boyfriend, how did he know he loved her?
He loved her, yeah.
Right. And essentially, he said that the bang bang wasn't that great. That's how he
No,
knew.
that's not what he said. See, now let me finish.
He said that her lady bits wasn't that great. That's how he knew he loved her, because he still wanted to say. And to go back to the topic we're talking about, there's a lot of men out there that will accept the 80 because they know it's going to be damn near impossible to get the 20 or part
Well,
of that 20. It's the whole 80-20 rule.
okay, but it's not
Right?
impossible to get the 20.
Right? So
you
like,
chased the 20 by leaving the 80,
right, but
and
what
then
I'm
you ended
saying
you
is,
only got 20, and now you
so
pass
what
out
I'm
on
saying is, in the example of that TikTok you sent me that was hilarious, she had the 80 and he was willing to live without the
So,
20.
but that 20, I mean, that 20 is also like, anyway, anywho, now I forgot my train of thought. But anyway, I want to ask you
You
this.
understand what I was saying was,
Listen here,
you're
but
trying to summarize, you're trying to summarize my thoughts in women talk.
okay, I still don't know. But anyway, I do want to ask you this, okay? Because she also talks about how the majority of essentially like compromise has been placed on women.
Mm.
And then it kind of talks a little bit about how that can be really aligned with the type of male traits that women pick up like from males. So what are your thoughts about women take on more than men do? So if you have women who carry the child, have to take care of the child majority of the time, still taking care of the household, still having to provide an income, still having to be a supportive partner, still having to satisfy a man sexually, still having to manage and stroke a man's ego, do all of those things. And then what society predominantly wants from men is to protect and provide. But women are expected to do all of X, Y, and Z, which goes into what she was talking about, how marriage is more beneficial to men than it is to women. That's why she was talking about women don't get a lot out of marriage, not as much the men do. How do you feel about that?
And I would say that society has tried to narrow the scope of what protect and provide means.
Narrow the scope?
Yes.
Okay,
They tried
elaborate.
they tried to they tried to um not cover everything that it encumbers
Like what?
to protect and provide, right? The
Because you're not
fact
protecting me from lions.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
But if we were in public and someone hit
Yes.
you would expect me to step up and say to do something to you, right?
Okay,
Right.
yes.
So my mere presence with you
Uh-huh.
around other people protects you,
Right.
because they have to think twice, because they know that you have someone in front of you that will protect you,
Correct.
right? And that's not something I can switch off.
Correct.
That's not something that I can just not do,
Correct.
right? You can take weeks off from doing housework and cooking.
Nah, not
And
really, because
hold on, if you choose to. I'm not saying I'm not saying I would pick up the slack. I mean, if you need me to, I would. But I'm not saying that things wouldn't get done. I said, but these are certain things that you can go without doing.
But
Right?
you said for like weeks, because what
Hold on.
what I would say is how often, how sorry, but I mean, hey, you
Okay.
got me off track with what you said.
Okay,
So
but I'm not talking, but I'm
a
saying,
little bit.
okay, I'm talking in generalities now, right?
Okay.
Right. So it's like there's things that you can do as far as taking care of the house, things in the house, things that they would consider wifely duties,
Mm-hmm.
that you can turn off, right? That you can turn off. You just ain't got it in you today, right? At You don't believe that,
I'm just go
right?
ahead.
Right? As your husband, as your protector, as her father, as her protector, these are roles I can never switch off. These are jobs that I can never take a vacation from. I have to be on guard 24/7, right? And that protecting you, when done correctly, does does not mean just physical threats when it pertains to my family. I am supposed to protect my family from the physical and the mental threats of society, right? I am supposed to bear the weight and the responsibility of everyone's life and the pressure and the weight that that carries. Do not discount the weight of those things. So I have to carry the weight of all those things. And then when you feel as if you are having a bad time or she's having a bad time, I have to step in and now cater to your needs directly for whatever your needs is in that moment outside the greater needs of protecting and providing for you. So that's when people say, "Oh, all men do is protect and provide." No, that's all your man does, because I see protecting and providing as more than just a physical and a financial thing. I have to provide you with a safe space. I have to provide my daughter with a safe space, right? I have to protect your emotional well-being, your mental. I have to protect her mental well-being. It's not just me going to work, covering the bills, and make sure you have food and putting things in place. That's just where it starts.
Hmm.
That's not where it ends. That's where it starts. So from that's why I say being a man is a selfless job that you get no appreciation for. I'm talking about being a good man. I'm not talking about being a deadbeat. When you are a good man and you go out there and you provide and protect. Now I'm providing, I'm protecting. Now you want to say that's all you do. So now you want to belittle what I do because you're going to say what I'm doing is doesn't weigh as much or as important as much as what the mother does, which the statistics again will show that that is false. If you
No,
look
what is false?
that what I do is not more is less than what you do, right?
Hmm.
Because if that was the case, the statistics of mother household with boys and with girls, the girls with the daddy issues, the boys with unchecked emotions and leadership, that the product that a single mother household produces based on statistics, since that's what she likes to go to all the time, is not that does not measure up to the same product that a single father household produces. So I don't sit here and discount what I do as a man because you can't quantify or appreciate it because you don't see the world and you don't see the dangers and what I do
From a male
from
perspective.
a male's perspective, right? I understand as a man that violence is always around the corner, right? And I understand that there are some men that can check the violence that's inside them, and there's some men there's not. And regardless of whether you can or cannot, I have to be ready and on guard to protect my family and what is mine at all times. It is a job that never stops. It is a job that you never stop worrying about whether you're completing that task properly and efficiently. It is something that never ever ends. Just how you always say a mother work is never done, a father and a husband's job is never done. I go out and I work, I provide so that you can rest easy at night. So you don't worry about if someone comes in here at night
And try to take me out.
who's gonna protect you.
Right.
You don't worry about how you're gonna get X, Y, and Z. That's my worry. Even when I know that the ends if the ends ain't meeting this month, you don't know when the ends ain't meeting until they
That's
can
part of the protection.
and until they completely not meeting. It's like you don't know Titanic
Titanic is shipping.
is sinking
Yeah.
until you see the water on the deck.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be put in a position.
That's a
I know it's
hypothetical,
hypothetically
right?
saying, but I'm just saying, like, some people do operate like that, and then it's like you can't. That's not for me. That's not provision. That's not provision. Like telling me that we've already hit the iceberg and now we're one deck to sinking. That's not
Right.
provision. That's just.
Okay,
That's just
that's understandable in your eyes, right? Some people want to be oblivious, right? Some people,
ignorance is bliss.
right? Some people want. But what I'm saying is, as your husband, I'm talking personal,
Now you're talking personal.
as your husband, as her father, you are protected in more ways than just physical.
Right.
You are protected mentally. I'll tell you straight up all the time. I don't care if it's your mama, your sister, your daddy. I'll tell you that ain't right, and I'm not going to allow it. And I will, real quick. You have that nurturing and loving thing where you are willing and easily um forgiving to some people, and you let people push you. And when I see you letting people push you, that's when I step in and say, "You need to stop this." That's another way of me protecting you. That has nothing to do with me physically protecting you. That's me protecting you for what this could lead
So,
to.
like, protecting me from myself
Yes,
or my own actions?
yes. Because you're allowing other people to manipulate you, or not necessarily manipulate you. You're allowing other people to use you in a way that is not beneficial
Beneficial to
to you,
me?
and that down the road it's going to affect you mentally.
Mhm.
So a lot of times I have to step in and say, no. Like I tell you all the time, I don't mind being the bad guy.
Yeah.
I can be the bad guy all day. I don't care. Because, like I always tell you, the only opinions that matter to me are you and my child.
Okay, so let's talk in general. Do you still think that that's how most men operate? Like
Think
how you said, like,
I think any good man thinks that way.
okay, so
Any good man understands that it's me and my wife and my and it's
fif-
technically it's me and my wife against the world. That includes your children.
okay, so what
Hold on.
about
That includes your children, your adult children.
okay.
Right? Because sometimes I have to protect you from our own daughter. Because sometimes, listen, I'm not talking about physically, because she's not handling you physically, but sometimes she has a way of hitting the nerves and pushing you to your limits mentally, where you can't, when you start to lose yourself,
Because she's
like
a kid.
right, because she's a kid, like a couple weeks ago with the homework, where I had to step in because that's me protecting you. That's me saying, hey, you knew, even though I was a little upset with you, like I said, that you didn't tap me in sooner. But that's part of protecting. Part of protecting is not only protecting you physically, but protecting you emotionally and mentally. And I believe that any good man will do the same for his wife or his woman. It's about being a husband and being a good provider is putting your woman in the most comfortable position possible,
Okay.
right? And if you're not able to do that, and if you're not able to do that at the current time, you're going outside your roles to be useful. Because as a man, we innately have to be useful. We want to be
Right.
useful, right?
Right.
That's part of our DNA, right? So we're gonna do what we have to do to feel as if we belong.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean? Do what you have to do to feel like you belong.
We're gonna take up the roles and responsibilities that we feel are required of us and necessary of us, so that we obtain that image from you of that we're good leaders, that we uphold that
Oh, like to
image.
make your basically to make yourself more attractive
Right,
amongst the herd.
right, right. So we're gonna do we're gonna do what is required. And when you can't do what's required, a lot of times we'll overstep and do things, go above and beyond to fill in for what we're lacking,
Mhm.
while trying to achieve that of what we're lacking. So as the progress of being a man, a good man, is always bettering yourself, not for yourself, but for the benefit of your wife and your children.
So, okay, when we look at like the divorce rate, right? And then we hear that big question of like what's the purpose in marriage or what's the reason for marriage? And we look at the divorce rate and we see that the divorce rate is over 50%. If men are intended to be leaders and women are intended to be helpers, but women are filing for divorce at a faster rate than men are. And 54% of women have said that they will not remarry once they divorced. Are we attributing that to there just not being enough good men?
No,
Because like how you just said, you're
no.
like so what do you think contributes to that?
Again, this is I agree with what I heard the other day, and I think this is a big part of it. I'm not saying this is for everyone.
Right. So you're
W-
speaking generally.
Speaking in general, when you have a young lady that comes from a single parent household, 9 times out of 10, that's a mother, and they've seen their mother do everything, be the provider, be the protector,
Excuse
all
me.
that, right? They are not taught how to then be in a subservient role, or a submissive role, because they're used of seeing their mother always in charge. You said this so yourself. You come from a single family dynamic. I come from a dynamic to where I was in a two-parent household, right? And it wasn't the dynamic of my grandfather was in total control. God knows, if anyone who knows my family, knows my upbringing, they know that my grandmother's word had weight.
That's what I always say. The person who is in a quote
Right.
unquote submissive role, they're usually the one who has the control.
And granted, she didn't necessarily live a what they would deem now a soft life because,
Right.
she did have employment, but you gotta think it's the time. The times
Yeah.
then,
Times are different.
it was, uh, um, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they had children they had to take care of, and everybody did their part. But that being said, when my grandmother said something, she was heard. She it was it she her thoughts, her concerns were heard. And not only were they heard, my grandfather's actions was always for the betterment of his family,
Mhm.
not himself, right? And that has more to say about his character. And that's why I always say a lot of times people get married based off of what things appear and not the character of that person. Because we can see us now as older adults, we know now what we thought we were looking for and what was important to us
Has changed.
in our when we were in our teenage years, in our 20s, have changed.
Mhm.
I think we were just blessed enough to find that person or that soulmate that we meshed good, that we could actually evolve together. A lot of times people are taking their upbringing because that's all they know. And then when they move that into marriage, they're going off of what they've seen during their growing while they were raised. So if
Taking it as their
right,
Bible.
right. So if you weren't raised in a household where there was a marriage, how do you know how to be married? What is your examples?
But I think that goes for men and women too.
It goes both
I
ways.
mean, because it's
It
like,
goes it, it,
yeah,
it
like
does go both ways. But like I said before, I feel like a lot of people, most of the people that get married and then obviously get divorced soon after, when it's not dealing with infidelity or anything like the quick turnarounds are people who just got married for the title. Now, I feel a lot of times when it's later on and the marriage has been around 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you start getting through that rough patch, it's because people are not either emotionally available enough or
are willing to evolve.
emotionally mature enough to actually have the hard conversations and get to the root of problems. So a lot of times we live in a day because we live in a day and age where everything is so accessible. So a lot of times people feel like, oh, it's easy for me to go get this over here than to repair what's here.
Like I don't have to because it would,
Right.
yeah, like it's easy
Right.
for me just to like cut this out and
Right.
go get what I think it is that
And
I
so
really want.
and I think the difference is it's that on top of the times, right? Because of the internet and everybody seems so accessible, you can always, you got millions of, suitors in your phone
And monogamy is on the bottom barrel.
if that's what you're looking for. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? It is a different time. We come from a time, where um, you pretty much only associated with people you went to school with or that were friends of your cousins from other,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We didn't have this dynamic of I can get on my phone right now and conversate with someone across the country and build some type of bond this way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we actually had to go out, talk to people, interact, build those relationships naturally through time and through time and conversation. And and we would actually, from speaking from my grandparents, they lived in a time where they worked together to make it work.
Mhm.
Because when I look at them, like they were married at they're 16, 15, 16, married,
Yeah, that was a completely different
right?
time.
Completely
Yeah.
different time. But they got together and they made it work.
Yeah. I like your elaborations, Gil.
All right, Walls.
I think basically what it comes down to in a nutshell, it's like both men and women, we both have our own crosses to bear,
Hmm.
right? And I think it's always going to be one of those things that one side either will sometimes feel like they're giving more than the other, or one side will feel like their responsibilities and compromise outweigh the other side's. And that's where you get this quote unquote gender war.
But that's people understand that's life.
Right.
You don't walk into work every day at 100%.
Right.
You expect to wake up every day in a marriage at 100%?
Listen here, some people do.
That's not reality.
Some people do.
Some days you're gonna wake up and I got 60 and I just need you to carry that 40. And if you ain't got that 40, I'm at the point now where I'm mature enough to know, well, hey, maybe we gotta
Today just ain't our day.
maybe we gotta roll with the 90. We gonna make it do what it do.
Today ain't our day. This week ain't our week, and we'll try again in 30 days.
We gonna make it do what it do. And that's the thing. People think that there's going to be rough times.
Yeah.
Regardless of how compatible you are,
Yeah.
regardless of how much you love each other, regardless of how much time you spend together, you are going to see something's not going to be eye to eye.
Right.
And that's part of the work we always talk about. And that's the part where people need to understand that, hey, it's not me versus you, it's us versus the problem.
Or the issue. Right.
That's a lot of the times. And you really only have an issue if the other side don't want to address the problem. That's when you have the issue. But when you have two people working together to address the issue, the actual elephant in the room, that's something worth fighting for.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't want to fight for things because they don't want to feel as if they're doing more than the other.
Or they don't want to look at themselves to take accountability and
Yes.
be able to say, you know what? You might be right. There might be some truths to what you're saying about me or what you feel is not going right.
Because accountability goes a long way
Right.
on both sides.
But it can feel like an attack too. So,
I always feel like if you feel like I'm gonna speak for me. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna generalize this. I always feel like when it comes to you, whenever I feel like I'm being attacked and I sit back and listen to it, I'm like, she wasn't attacking me. I was just in my feelings because she was right.
because you agreed on something.
And I need to own I need to own that shit. But that's part of me growing.
I was gonna say, yeah, because that has to do with you.
That's not, you know what I'm
That no
saying?
longer has anything to do with me.
Right.
That has everything to do
Right.
with you.
And I think that's something people need to go do. Both male and female. You have to do the work on yourself
yeah, you have to have your own self accountability.
to understand and realize that a lot of these problems, it ain't about me. It's about what I did.
And it's not always trying to shine a light on what your partner is doing that's affecting your attitude.
Right.
But it could also be your approach. It could be how you're internalizing something.
Right.
It could be your thought process on something. It's not necessarily that your life will be better if they did X, Y, and Z. Because if you can say like if you like you could have done better or you can do better, then you can do better too as the person.
Right. And as you said that, it made me think about this. A while back, I used to think about, well, she's not doing this for me, so I ain't gonna do this for her.
That's keeping score.
Right. And I had to mature to the point where it's like, maybe I should just go ask her why she's not doing this instead of just assuming she's purposely doing this. And then when we started having those conversations and things change, we started to have longer stretches where everything was okay. And then something like serious had to happen for us to have a falling out.
Right.
You
Or
know?
we get off track and then we have to get back on track through a conversation to bring it back to each other's forefront. So, I mean,
We
it's
were on track last night.
no, don't start, Gil. Don't. Now for our 2 cents. Let's go ahead and wrap this up because if I don't stop you now. So for today on our 2 cents.
What'd you say, Huey? Pop, lock, and drop it?
This one is titled "Husband Wants Me to Watch Baby All Day and Also Get a Night Job."
Damn.
Okay.
I mean, he gonna watch the baby all night.
Oh, listen. I'm still on unpaid maternity leave and have been watching the baby every day while he works and then on the weekdays. I'm the only one who gets up through the night to feed and change the baby because, quote unquote, he works and can't be tired in the mornings from waking up to do all of that. We both work for the same company and I'm supposed to return to work on the 28th, but he tells me I shouldn't return to that job because I have to watch the baby during the day and he wants me to get a night job instead. So I'd be watching the baby all day, then leaving to go do a night job that, let's just say, ends around midnight, come home, then get up throughout the night to change and feed the baby and start that all over again. While he gets to go to his regular job and come home and I'm running around 24/7 just to try and cover my bills that he hasn't helped me with while I've been on maternity leave. I've used all my savings to cover my half of the rent and my bills this past month, and I feel like I'm in over my head. When I told him today, I feel like it's unfair. I'm the one who has to leave my job and find a night job while taking care of the baby all day. He just said that he didn't want to argue, that I just wanted to argue, and he hung up the phone in my face. All the while, when I do stay home, he says I don't do enough and taking care of a baby is not that hard and it's actually quite easy, and that I should be doing more, like cleaning the house, vacuuming and organizing and doing laundry because, quote unquote, it doesn't take 3 hours a day to watch a baby.
He wild.
Any advice?
He's wild. He's wild. This is my
All
advice.
I could do is laugh on that one.
This is my advice.
Job.
This is my advice. Friday night, when he gets off work,
If he doesn't work weekends,
if he doesn't work weekends, put the baby down,
leave.
give him the baby, leave.
Leave for at least 4 hours.
No. Not 4 hours. Come back Sunday night and see how much you got done.
And I would come back and be like, I didn't dirty not dance.
That's crazy.
Didn't cook nothing. So everything that's in
That's
here,
crazy.
like I would leave his butt with the baby in a clean
That's
house.
I would say this, like, I was blessed enough to spend a lot of time with our child once she was still in diapers, still a baby. And I got all three stages. I got where she couldn't move. Then I had her when she was crawling. Then I had her when she was running. And I will say that, like I always say, what you do, I would not do. I have no interest in doing. I don't want to do. And that we only got one. It is work. He's tripping. Taking care of a
He
child,
said it's not that difficult.
taking care of a child and being attentive to that child,
And I think that's what it is.
right? He don't understand that this is somebody that you have to entertain for 18 hours a day.
Not 18 hours, not entertain.
Yes. 18
Well, I
hours
think
a
it's like
day.
it sounds like they're because she's still on maternity leave. So
Hold on. Not even that. Then he's making you pay half the rent. You got his child?
well, it's
Man, this is what I talked about earlier when I said people be getting in situations they don't need to be
But
in.
it sounds like before they had kids, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like everything was split, kind of 50-50, because that's how it was before they had children. But now that they have a child and she's on unpaid maternity leave. So
That's
and
wild.
she says her husband. I was gonna
That's-
say, I don't know if they were married, but yes, they are married because
Yeah.
it's her husband. But she's on unpaid maternity leave and she's depleted her savings
Yeah.
to
See?
pay her bills. So now she's also getting behind on her bills because he's also not assisting her with covering the bills, but telling her she needs to get a night job.
I normally try to side with the fella.
I don't know if he likes you.
Me that too. This is what I say do.
I'm not sure he likes you.
This is what I say do, ma'am. Just go ahead and leave.
Bye, Maurice.
Listen to me. Go ahead and leave. Take the baby with you. So now when he's paying the child support, now he can work all day and all night. So
Once they start garnishing his
so
paycheck,
then he'll understand that, you know what? Maybe I should have just
maybe I should have just babysat a couple of.
gave her some grace.
I think that's so weird too when people when men refer to watching their own children as babysitting. It's your child. You're not You're not like babysitting a random stranger. You
That's
don't work at a daycare. It is your
That's-
kid.
That's wild.
I thought you would like that one. I said I'm gonna read this one to my husband because I think he's gonna like this one.
That's wild.
Is that wild?
I was like, if you saw my facial reaction when you was reading, and then like when she said I gotta pay my half, I said, pay your half. Y'all supposed to be married. What you talking about?
Now here's the thing though, like
y'all you on maternity? What is he doing? He a sucker.
I am trying to play devil's advocate.
He a
Whatever.
sucker.
If their original arrangement,
No, he a sucker.
because some people
Yes, sir.
because some married couples do keep money completely separate. I know
Yes,
that
sir.
there's some people who do the whole combined thing, and then we all get like an allotment,
Dude,
whatever.
She's
But
bearing
listen.
she bared your child.
I know, but we
You
also
a sucker.
we have discussed in the past that some men don't view that as such a big a
okay.
big thing.
Yeah. He
Like
sucker. I could-
it sucks, but there's a lot of men who are on the air of like, okay, so you had a baby, like like many women have babies, and I don't understand why you feel like you need this special treatment. That's because that's basically what he's saying. He's like, okay, you had a baby, and okay, so now you finna go back to work. I need you to get a night job so you can be here with your baby and take care of your baby during the day. Then you can still contribute to the household by going to work at night. And then I need to get my rest because I can't do
No.
too many things at one time, and I can only work. So
No.
okay.
You are responsible for 50% of raising that child. You knew.
And he will say that she's responsible for 50% of the bills.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do.
That's what
This is what
happened.
we're gonna do. If you want to be paid like that, fine. Okay. So I'm gonna watch the kid for the first 12 hours of the day while you at work. All me. I'm gonna go get this part-time job, work 4 hours, and when I come home, the 8 hours is still you.
Right. I was going to say, now, does it have to be a full time? But if she's got to cover her own bills, obviously she has to work full time.
Leave them.
I mean, or
Leave 'em.
go somewhere and try to get fired and collect unemployment. I don't know.
Leave 'em.
Anyway, this has been another episode of Life After I Do podcast. If you are not currently following us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram at Life After I Do podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on TikTok at Life After I Do podcast. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss, or if you feel like you want some advice on something, feel free to reach out to us at lifeafteridopodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you guys. And as always, you will be getting a new episode on Wednesday. Okay.
Peace, geese.
Peace.